Hey guys, Mike Cabani here, and welcome to the Epic Entrepreneurs Podcast. This is episode number one. And today I'm going to show you, I'm really going to reveal to you, we're going to get started with my most powerful formula. This is really my marketing secret. This is what I discovered after so many years. After so many years, I discovered this is almost the ultimate secret to all of marketing and sales. And if you really understand the secret, you really will be able to understand all advertising, all marketing, all sales, everything that you see that's happening in terms of business and activity. You will be able to understand because this I found this really unifying concept. So that's what I'm going to show you, what I'm going to talk with you about today on the podcast. And also, I want to tie it in with copywriting. So I don't know if you do any copywriting, you're writing your emails or your posts or your sales letters or your Facebook ads, right? You do copywriting. This will this secret will help you with your copywriting, with your message. How do you write to get people to take action, right? Because that's what you're doing. How do you get people to click your ad? How do you get people to sign up for your list? How do you get people to buy your thing? This ties it in. This secret ties it in. And also, this secret is related to persuasion, and it's related to how do how do people change? How do people change? How do people they are doing one thing and then they start to do another thing, because that's really what marketing is all about. It's about changing people's behavior, right? A person isn't thinking, I want to buy your thing. I want to, they're not thinking, I want to buy your thing. They're thinking of just random things. And then somehow your marketing message gets in front of them. And then now they're thinking, okay, I want to buy this thing. How does that happen? How do we connect those two things? So that's the secret. That's what I'm going to show you guys today. So here's how, here's what it is. So what I discovered was that there are five psychological states. So human beings, and if you look at yourself, if you look at other people, in fact, let me put them up on the screen. For you guys that are listening, that's fine. You can just listen. But for you guys that are on YouTube, that are seeing it on YouTube. So the five psychological states of of marketing secrets, if you will. These are the states, the marketing state. They're not market. They're psychological states, but they influence marketing. These are people spend their time going from one state to another. Think of it like this. A person is hungry and then they want to eat, right? A person is sleepy, they want to go to bed. All day long, people spend their time trying to go from one state to another, right? They're trying to just they're, as I said, they're hungry, they want to eat. They have a craving, they want to fill that craving. So it's this constant craving, constant desire that's happening all day long. And because of that, and that also goes to animals. You look at animals, and that's animals' behavior is governed by these desires, by these cravings. So here's what they are. The number one state, the first state, one is craving or pain. And to me, they're very similar. Craving, when you crave food, when you crave water, hunger is painful, even though it's a desire. So desire is painful. So that's the number one thing to understand. The number one psychological state to understand is pain and desire. People want stuff, right? Think about it in your case. You wake up, maybe you have a back pain, you have a head pain, you have a headache, you have you're, as I said, you're hungry, you're thirsty, you want things, you look at your bank account, you want more money. We have these constant pains that happen all the time, constant desires that happen. And that's the primary thing. And that's the motivating factor. So that's really the motivating factor for people. That's what, in fact, all of marketing, that's the seed of all marketing. So what you have to imagine is you have these billions of people and they all have these cravings and desires and pains, and they're constantly trying to move and they're trying to do things in order to satisfy those pain, to satisfy the desires, to reduce their pains. That's why people, they get fast food, or they buy things, they consume things to satisfy that craving, that pain. One important point about this is that this state, these five states that I'm going to share with you, they are in a sense, they are all existing, or I should say, they're generic. They're generic, even though, for example, people are buying different things, or people are doing different things. You have people that are, somebody that's the person that's is buying fast food versus the person that's buying, health equipment, the person that's buying a luxury car, right? They seem to be all to be different, doing different things, but but it's all on one level, just satisfying a pain, satisfying a desire. So what we have to understand is that the emotion is the same. The emotion is the same. The thing that's different is how it's expressed. So everybody has these same five states, five emotional states, that psychological states that they're in, but then they satisfy them differently. So the number one is craving or pain. That's the desire. Number two state is it's really anxiety or frustration. Those are related. This is where the person is now. So imagine a person is hungry, they want to eat, but they don't know what to eat, or they go to the kitchen and they don't have food. So now there's this frustration that happens. There's this frustration. There's this feeling of confusion, feeling being upset, feeling anxious, feeling stressed out. That's where stress comes from. Stress comes from when we have a pain, but we're not able to really deal with it, and we kind of are. We it's like we're trying to sit with the pain, but we don't want to sit with it. So that's the second state. So the first state, we have pain, we have desire, and that's in terms of it's an intense state. Second state is anxiety or frustration, and this state it's a feeling of being stuck. A lot of people, you hear it all the time. I feel stuck. I feel confused. I feel lost. All those things are anxiety, frustration. So I'll tie it in. So let's move on, and I'll tie it in a second. So the third state after anxiety and frustration, we have power. So power is the state of a person that is now, uh, maybe they found the answer, or they've finally, they've had enough, and they feel really intensely, and they feel really strongly about something, and now they're taking action. So this state of power, it's an important state to know. It's associated with anger, and this state is the person. This is where a person takes action. This is where a person makes a commitment. So the fourth state is happiness, and the fifth state is fulfillment. So how do these tie together? I'll talk about them, but I want to also tie it together for you, because maybe it's kind of abstract. But basically, this is a cycle that people tend to go through, or they ideally want to go through. We want to go from pain to fulfillment, right? And we want to have and you can imagine in terms of a day, a whole day, you have you wake up, you have pain in the morning, and then you want to, at night, you want to be fulfilled at night. You want to feel peaceful at night. You want to feel good at night. And those are the emotional states. So here's how to make this concrete for you guys. The key element to know in this is that this template, this formula, is universal. Everybody has it, and people are constantly, and stories. When you look at stories, they follow this format. Like if you look at all the main kind of Hollywood story format, they follow this formula. From they go from pain to fulfillment. That's the happy ending at the end of the movie. The Disney movie, the rags to riches. This is that formula, the rags to riches formula. So, and the reason why it's so it's so appealing to people. People like it so much is because it's universal. It's something we understand on a basic level. Everybody understands pain. Everybody understands the frustration of not having the answer, or being under, being in, trapped, being in a cage, being under tyranny, or being bullied, or being, where they can't solve the problem, right? And everybody understands power and determination and commitment, and somebody that finally stands up to the bully, or somebody that finally gets fed up, right? That's the hero. That's what we see. The hero character that we see is that's the power element that we all identify with. And then everybody knows happiness in terms of, and here I differentiate happiness and fulfillment. Happiness is joy. It's kind of a small happiness. It's like, good food. It's these kind of just, kind of happy, joyful things. But fulfillment is the kind of eternal peace. It's this state of just, just like everything is all right. It's not just happiness in the moment, but it's peace of mind. It's a total kind of happiness, and so it has a calm element with it. So how do you apply this? How do you apply this structure? Well, this is what you need to know is that marketing and sales is all about the first two states. People oftentimes they are in pain, and they have pain and frustration. Those are really, or desire, and to me desire and pain are really the same thing. But people everywhere, they have pain, and they have a problem, they have a pain, they have something messed up. The fat person is fat, the poor person is poor, the ugly person is ugly, right? The unsociable person is nobody likes them, or that's what they think. The not confident person, they have an inferiority complex. So that's the pain they have. But then the frustration that they have is they can't solve it, right? The fat person tries to diet, but they can't diet, right? The poor person, how are they going to make money? They don't know how, and if they know how, they're afraid they're going to get scammed. And if they, and maybe they try to do it, but they don't have time, or they try to do it and they can't get motivated to do it, right? That's the frustration. So that's where people are at. People have these pains, cravings, and then they have frustrations where they cannot achieve those things. So that's where you meet them, and the key that you have is that you take them through that into a state of power, or a state of certainty, and it's a state of feeling certain that this is the answer, this is the key. And the way you do that is, the easiest way to do that is to persuade people is through the story format. So the story format, that's why, you look at Hollywood movies, and now, Star Wars, I saw that, I saw Star Wars last week, and it was an amazing movie, but it follows this structure, this 5-step structure. It follows that, the overall journey of it. And that's why people watch it and we relate to it. That's why we see it and we're like, this is really cool. This is, I get it. I get it. And that comes because it follows that structure. So that's how you do it with your marketing. All you have to do is follow that structure, and you create a story that I'll give you an example. So what you do, you create a story. Let's take a rags to riches story. A person is poor, they have their bills, they're facing, bankruptcy, or they're facing, they have all these, money problems, and it's hurting themselves, it's hurting their family, it's hurting them psychologically, it's hurting them personally, it's all these pains. And then the second part is, the frustration, or the anxiety, how they can't solve it, how, what they've tried before and it hasn't worked, how they've been maybe betrayed or whatever. And then the third step is, so once we tell those two things, if those things match the person that's hearing them, if they match their experience, if they think, yeah, this is relatable, I can relate to this person, what happens is, in their brain they now think, whatever will come next will be correct or true or will be applicable to me, right? That's how we learn from each other. It's kind of this brain thing, this weird brain thing, how our brains work. So if you can just match those two things to their experiences, suddenly now they will they won't believe you if you don't tell them anything they already believe. And the thing they already believe is the first two things they can believe. If you can match what their experience has been, then they will believe you. They will believe the things that they haven't heard yet, that they don't know yet. The power moment in the story, it comes from a compelling fact. It has to be a compelling thing that compels them to take action, where now they have to feel strongly about uh, taking action, strongly about to make the change, to that. And you can do that in different ways. I'll talk more about it in future episodes about different ways to evoke that power, that certainty from them. But one of the best ways to do it is through an emotional story that reaches kind of a breaking point, or it reaches a point that's a really powerful point, like a compelling point, something compelling. You think in a movie, in a movie you have the hero is their child is kidnapped, right? Or they are facing an imminent crisis. If they don't act, they will die or they will be seriously hurt. So after that, then you show the happiness in terms of this is the happiness that they did it, and then they start to get happiness, and then the fulfillment in terms of the life transformation. So okay, so this is it's a little bit heavy, it's a little bit complicated, and you don't need all of the structure. This is kind of the complete structure, and this is you would need the structure for kind of complete marketing campaigns, like really complete ones. But if you're doing a kind of more simple marketing, all you need to do is just have uh, have exciting, something exciting that matches their desire. So that's the easiest thing to do. That's the easiest first level, is just focusing on the desire. Like, hey, do you want this thing? We have a special offer. Get it here. That's the first one. But more complex marketing starts to involve more talking about their frustrations, right? Their objections that they might have, and then even more. Then the more advanced it is, the more you start to get into more kind of deeper and more complete stories. So anyway, guys, that's the formula. Uh, what I want to do now is I really want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your experience about how do you relate to this, because this is for me. These episodes I'm gonna do. Half of it is me. Kind of putting out a lesson or a concept, teaching you guys, but the other half is I want to listen. To your experience, and we can continue the conversation in the comments and in your. So let me know what you think. How do you relate to this? First, how do you relate to it personally? In terms of these five psychological states, pain and craving and anxiety, frustration, power, happiness, and fulfillment. What your experience has been like. And second, how do you relate to it as a marketer, as a business person, in terms of your clients or customers or people you're working with? How do you see that in your in the copywriting or the emails? Uh, so let me know. Let me know in the comments, and we'll continue the conversation. And be sure to subscribe. I have just an insane amount of content planned for you guys, and all about secrets to help you with your business, to help you with your marketing, and ultimately to help you to be an amazing entrepreneur. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know your questions and your thoughts on this, and we'll talk again soon.